Eagle Nation back with another summer sit down. And today we head up to Chatham, Massachusetts for the Cape Cod Summer Baseball League, visiting with 2022 All-American designated hitter Noah Ledford. Led, appreciate the time today, bud.
Appreciate you having me on. I'm excited.
How did you get the opportunity to play in the league that every college baseball player wants to play in during the summer?
Well, Jeff Cordy coached up here this past summer, and he had a connection through Chatham. So that was one thing. And just, I think I try and stay as humble as possible, but I think with the numbers I had this year, it showed that I earned the time up here, and I was excited to come up here and play against the best. This is basically, like everybody says up here, it's minor league baseball. So this was really what it is.
These teams are basically all-star teams, even on Chatham. You've got from Georgia Tech, Kevin Parada, Jake DeLeo, Caden Grice from Clemson. How do you fit in with all that talent?
I mean, they're all talented. I mean, it's everybody. When you come up here, everybody knows that you're good, and you don't got to talk about it, say this, say that. Everybody knows what you do in the season, and really you get along pretty well. And it's nice getting up here and sharing knowledge with all these guys from these different programs, and just getting to know their approach, what their coaches preach, and just all that sort of stuff.
You had a chance to go to Fenway Park recently for a showcase. What was that like?
Oh, that was cool. We showed up there, did a bunch of different testing, got there, got to go on the field, did in and out, got to take BP on the field, which was awesome. And this ball actually flies at Fenway, believe it or not. It was really fun to hit BP there, not gonna lie. Me included with all the other guys, that we were just sending balls out. It was awesome.
We've got the Blue Monster here in Statesboro, which is 24 feet high in right field. They, of course, have the famous Green Monster, which is 37 in left. I know you're switch hitter. Did you take one over the Monster?
I was close right-handed taking one out. Golly. Left-handed, I took plenty out to right field. It was carrying good. The wind was blowing out straight to center field, but that wall is something else. It is a big wall. It makes our little blue wall look miniature.
One of the things that makes the Cape special is that players coming from all across the country get a chance to stay with host families. Tell us about yours.
Oh man, my host family here is awesome. Ashley Condon's my host mom, and she's awesome. She's provided for me everything that I've needed, just a place to stay, food in the refrigerator, just everything that I need. And she's actually took me on a charter fishing trip the other day with her son and a couple of his friends. So that was awesome. Got to catch some striped bass and some bluefish, and it was just a really good time. So she's provided for me very well this summer.
You're playing in a league where Chase Cohen, Seth Schumann, Nick Jones had a chance to play in over these last few years. So what does that mean to continue the lineage of Georgia Southern baseball up in the Cape?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, I've been talking to Mason, just talking about how this league works and everything, and just really enjoyed my time up here. It's been awesome. Just the talent that I've seen, the camaraderie between from different teammates all across the country. It's been such a great time. Hopefully this is another stepping stone to continue bringing players up here from Georgia Southern.
You bring up Mason McCorter. He had a very similar season to what you just had. Both you were All-Americans. How much did you learn from him to become what you did in 2022?
I learned a lot from Mason, man. Me and Mason were pretty tight. We talked hitting every single day. And the biggest thing he taught me was home runs are mistakes. And I think that kind of was brought over into this season, which cut my strikeouts down a good bit, and just trying to put the barrel on the ball, hit the ball hard, instead of just trying to hit for results instead of just hitting the ball, it helped me a lot.
It's funny you bring that up that way, because you're not trying for results, but you hit 348, you go 17 bombs, first Eagle with 70 RBIs since Victor Roach back in 2011. Why do you think it all decided to click?
I mean, so RBIs are just RBIs are based on your teammates. I have those first three guys in front of me and all the guys after me too that I drove in. You got Jesse and Swan and Avant all getting in front of me and just being on base for me to drive in. That was the big difference with RBIs. I mean, you look at some of our other stats too, like I think Avant and Swan and Jesse all were close to 60 plus runs scored each of them. It was, and then you look at Swan, Avant, and me with I think we combined 160 RBIs between the three of us, which is just, those stats are just incredible.
We could spend a lot of time talking about any of the 41 wins this year, but for you and this team, at what point did you think that this was going to be a year that you guys would never forget?
Well, we go to that opening weekend in Knoxville against Tennessee, and it was tough. I mean, they're a really good ball club, but I think we had spurts of good coming out of that weekend. We knew we were going to be good. Then we sat down as a team when we got back from Knoxville, came together, and just talked about what we needed to improve on after this weekend, what we saw, what we needed to change. We went out there against Tech that next midweek and won our first game of the year, beat them. I think it was 8-5 was the score. And it was, at that moment, we were like, yeah, we're that good. We can compete with anybody. And then from then on, it was just clicking.
I remember the sweep against Georgia State right before Easter, where game one was a comeback win late, one of many. Dominate game two, and then game three, getting down 6-0 early. But Colin and I were looking around early thinking, okay, this team has come back, so 6-0 was not a big deal. And then lo and behold, you tie the game, you take the lead in the eighth inning, go 1-2-3 in the ninth to pick up a sweep against a team that was 10-2 in conference coming into Statesboro. What did that mean to be able to sweep a rival, but to do it the way that you did?
Oh, I mean, anytime you sweep Georgia State, that's what you want every single year. And I mean, there's a lot of hype coming up between that series with them being ahead of us after I think we dropped the game against App State or something. I think that was it. We were sitting at third and they were sitting at second. And we just stuck to the approach that Coach Hennon told us every day. I remember it was just take it one day at a time, take the first one, then move on to the next one. Don't worry about the end result, kind of like I told you with like the hitting part, just day to day to day. And that was a really special weekend, being at home, getting to sweep them. That was something I'll never forget.
You end the season with a bang, well, quite a few bangs, 3 home runs in that series against Arlington, 12 RBIs in those last 2 games, going to Montgomery, getting back to the championship, which is becoming a regular theme with this program. Usually, though, you wouldn't have a chance to play extra baseball, even though it was a loss in the title game. That ride home and getting the notification that you guys had not only gotten in, but you were one of the 16 hosts. I've heard it from a couple of guys. What was the bus like?
I mean, you talk about silent. We got on that bus just in distraught, just because we pretty much knew with our RPI and our wins, we were like, we're getting in. We just don't know what exactly is going to be our position. So we were sitting there after that loss, like, dang, we're not going to host anymore. We're not sure. Like, it's just up in the air. And then we're sitting there for an hour just waiting. And then that time came around 8:30, I think, is when they released it. And everyone had their phones refreshing it. And then right when it hit, they did it in alphabetical. So we were the second to last team behind, or Stanford was the last one, I think. We refreshed it and we saw it, and the whole bus erupted, man. And then Coach Hennon, we looked up, Coach Hennon turned around, running through the middle of the aisle of the bus, just high-fiving everybody getting excited, pushing each other. I think I had Blake Evans put me in a chokehold from behind, was just like hollering and screaming. I mean, it's a moment in my life I'll never forget. We were from the very bottom and then we got to the very top right after that. It was awesome.
Take me through the couple of days right before the regional and then being able to host. What was that all like for you guys?
I mean, Coach Hennon said it multiple times, just taking it in. Like that's just a moment in our lives we'll never forget. Like just getting to see the energy from everybody. Like we talked about during the regional, like Banco coming down, painting the dugouts for us, just seeing everybody come together and get JI ready for the regional. And then just, I think what made the regional just that much better was just the talent that was in our regional. Everybody that I've talked to up here on these teams talked about how our regional was one of the best of the best. Like we had Texas Tech, Notre Dame. We had a Omaha team in our regional, and that's something that we can say we went toe to toe with somebody that went to Omaha this past year. You know, that's like just a few differences away from beating them and then changing the whole story. So, yeah, it was something special and just something I'll never forget.
You're all region. You go 6 for 8 with 5 walks, but the moment that everybody is going to bring up to you for the rest of time is the home run in the 3rd inning against Notre Dame in front of the biggest crowd in the history of J.I. Clemens Stadium. I know what it was like from the booth, but to hit it, to have that atmosphere surrounding you, and to soak in what you did, what was that like?
I mean, when you do something like that, you kind of almost black out and kind of forget where you're at. I mean, I hit that ball and knew it off the bat, and then I'm watching it, jogging, and then your mind starts going, all right, what do I do now? I could put my head down and just jog around, but with that stadium being as loud as it was and the people just hollering and screaming, I had to look to the fans and hype them up. Like, it was awesome. When I came around third base and looked up at my teammates and looked at the stadium, everybody standing up, Freedom flapping his wings. It was like, this is a picture in my head that I will never forget. Like, it was just chills running through my body. Everybody just so excited. I mean, it's just one of the best moments of my life.
I know the season ended earlier than you guys would have wanted it to, but that last moment coming back out of the dugout to still almost a full crowd and the final send off, the tip of the cap, the standing ovation, and then it seemed like none of you guys wanted to leave, and that showed us what we had talked about on the air all season and what we had talked about with Coach Hennon, that you guys were a competitive group, but I don't know that I've ever seen a closer group.
Oh, close wise, this is the closest to teammates I've ever been in my life. Just these are your best friends that you're going to know for the rest of your life and you're going to talk to for the rest of your life. Like Coach Hennon talks about it almost every day. He's got teammates that he has a group message with that he talks to almost every single day. And that's the kind of group that you're going to talk to every single day. And you're going to end up going back and meeting them and hanging out with them when you get older. And just like that moment with the crowd was just something special. I mean, yes, we were sad. Yes, we didn't want it to end that way, but just looking up and the support that we saw from everybody still there just showed how good this program really is and what the future holds for it. And it was awesome.
There's a lot of momentum with Georgia Southern baseball right now. How does this program take the next step starting in 23?
I mean, just take the same approach that we did this past season, just getting better every single day. And I think it also comes with the mentality of, yeah, it's okay being an underdog and being good, but now that we're not that underdog, we're there. We are at the top. We hosted a regional, and that's the standard now. So we got to meet that standard and keep getting better and better and better. So we set a standard for teams to come, and I really think that regional in this past season just put this program, jumped us forward from where we were, and it's going to be just so great the next couple of years for this program.
Well, from everybody here, congratulations on all the individual and team success this year. Hope you have a great rest of the summer up in the Cape, and we'll hopefully hear a lot more from you real soon, okay?
All right. Thank you, Danny.